All right, I'm Jason Whitlock. That's Marcellus Wiley. That dude.
Yes, sir.
All right, welcome to Speak for Yourself, the most fearless show in sports. Coming up, Saints defensive end Cameron Jordan will be here to tell us why New Orleans will be a force in the NFC again. But we start with some off-the-field news in the NFL. All right, there's one thing professional football has to offer its players. Money. That's it.
Money.
The NFL doesn't offer its players room, board, and tuition, or the opportunity to be the first in your family to graduate college. A long career in the NFL won't improve your health. You play pro football to make money. That's why it's foolish for NFL Players Association Director DeMAURICE Smith or anyone else who purports to be concerned about the welfare of players to immediately dismiss the idea of expanding the NFL schedule to 18 games and limiting players to a maximum of 16. The Wall Street Journal reported late last week that NFL owners floated the 18 and 16 idea to the NFLPA. The story said the additional 2 games would generate an extra $2.5 billion in revenue. Right now, players receive about 48% of defined NFL revenue. Within hours of the Wall Street Journal report, DeMAURICE Smith shot down the idea, saying, quote, "I don't see an 18-game schedule under any circumstance being in the best interest of our players." How can that be true? Is DeMAURICE the new Biggie Smalls? More money, more problems? I suggest DeMAURICE enter the Wu-Tang. As the head of the NFLPA, cash rules everything around him. Dollar bills, y'all. It's his job to get NFL players as much money as possible. The suggestion of an 18-game schedule is a leverage point in negotiations over a new collective bargaining agreement. It's a leverage point that could help NFL players get 49% of defined revenue. Why back yourself into a corner with a blanket statement about how 18 games isn't in the best interest of the players under any circumstance? If players only have to play 16 games, but they can grow overall league revenue by 15%, why be against it? Why not consider it? There's no harm in consideration. Let me admit my bias. I've been proposing an 18 and 16 idea for a decade. I think it's a great idea that generates added revenue while addressing player safety concerns. There are longtime NFL writers who disagree with me. NBC's Peter King wrote today that the idea is stupid and fueled by greed. He said the details of implementing the player restrictions is too hard. He suggested that pursuing the idea could kill the golden geese. NBC's Mike Florio of Pro Football Woke used a Twitter poll to argue that football fans are against an 18-game schedule in general and really against an 18 and 16 idea in particular. Let me tell you what football fans are really against and what really could kill the golden geese. Kneeling during the national anthem and spoiled millionaire athletes acting like they can solve America's most polarizing political issues in their spare time. But you couldn't find any of these writers arguing against any of that. But 2 extra games, yeah, that'll kill the NFL. Forcing coaches to come up with a strategy when they have to sit their starting quarterback, oh God, yeah, that'll kill the NFL. NFL players, ignore the idiots, including the leader of your union, and go get this money. It's the only thing the NFL has to offer you. All right, joining the desk now is Fox NFL analyst Sean Merriman. All right, Marcellus, you guys are both NFL players. Mistake for DeMAURICE Smith to shoot down this idea.
No, it's not a mistake. It's actually a masterful play. Genius posturing. I mean genius posturing, because right now, DeMAURICE Smith is sitting there like everyone else, knowing that this is all about money, but this is also about creating leverage against the NFL owners. So how do you create leverage? You let the NFL play this out in the court of public opinion. You let the NFL untangle this in front of everyone in its fan base. You make the NFL go out there and start to try to unravel and unwrap this pretzel that they find themselves in with the conflicts of player safety on one end, but hey, let's all eat right here. As you said, players, let's get some of this money, but the owners can't say that because it puts them in an awkward position of sounding like they're contradicting all of their initiatives towards player safety. So what do you do if you're DeMAURICE Smith and the NFLPA? Chill. Let the NFL go out there and play this game. You play a different game. It's called poker. and we're going to Vegas this weekend, and I know damn well I'm going to find you you're going to be there playing some poker. And you know what? When you get that hand dealt to you, you see that card, you're not going to sit there and say, you're going to sit there and say, And that's what DeMAURICE Smith is doing right now, just playing some poker.
You know, I agree with Marcellus. And, you know, in the past, I always had a little bit of a problem with NFLPA. I always felt that they was reactive and not proactive, right? When something happens, they'll step in to fix it instead of fixing the problem from the start. DeMAURICE Smith, he's fixing the problem before it starts because the NFL hasn't implemented a plan on what's going to happen. He's basically saying, like, you guys go figure it out and then come to us when you're ready. Right now, we got nothing to talk about.
That's the problem.
Yeah, but, you know, I don't think that's the problem. I think he's saying, you guys do all the work and then come to us when you got it figured out. We're not going to do anything until you come to with a better payment plan on how these 18 games are going to look, how the preseason games are going to look. We're going to sit back and let you do all the work and come to us when you're ready. So I think this is a very smart plan by him. I think that he's planned it out, like Marcellus said, in the media just the right way. He's saying, hey, we're not even going to talk until you guys got this thing figured out. And I think he's playing it smart.
This is why I've been a longtime critic of DeMAURICE Smith and think he's an abysmal failure in comparison to Gene Upshaw. In comparison to Gene Upshaw. When someone, you reach an agreement with somebody where you're getting 48% of the revenue, basically you're getting half the money. Yeah. I'm not just going to sit back and say, y'all figure it out. I'm going to be a part of the solution. If I'm getting 48% of that revenue and someone say, hey, then we got a chance to make an extra $2.5 billion, I'm going to be a part of that process because generating more money means generating more money for the players. Sitting back and the NFL does all the work and being in the mindset all the time of I'm at war with these people. When that era is over, there was an era where the players really were in an all-out war with the NFL owners. I'm not saying you can totally trust them because you can't. You can never trust anybody in a business deal. But it's not an all-out war anymore. This is a group of billionaires and a group of millionaires trying to figure out how we can make more money. And so I'm looking more to partner and work through solutions that create more money rather than being adversarial all the time.
I agree with you, but I was told a long time ago that the best negotiators are the ones that's willing to walk away. Right? And he's walking away before they even sit down. He's basically saying, no, and I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that he's telling us. He's telling us, he's telling the media, he's telling everybody, like, let's start talking when you guys got to figure it out. Because right now, they don't know if they're going to play 18 games. Guys going to get paid for 16. They're going to sit starters. No one knows. He's just basically saying, you guys figure it out.
Y'all keep asking for a seat at the table, and we want our thoughts to be represented. And so the NFL is saying, help us figure this out. You have to play this schedule. Be a part of coming to, because if they just hand it to you, then we didn't even have any say in that. We've been abused.
Well, you said there was an era where we used to be adversarial, and you're right, but that era still exists. It's right now, and I will show you through the NFL's efforts. Let's talk about guaranteed contracts, which seems like it's too far-fetched. Let's talk about player safety initiatives in the beginning stages, adversarial with the NFLPA. Let's talk about the social issues that played out in front of the public because they weren't handled privately. Adversarial positions have been taken by both sides since the beginning of time. We got billionaires and millionaires now, but guess what we had before? Millionaires and thousandaires, and they still were beefing then, they beefing now. It's a relative experience.
NFL owners been a billionaires longer than y'all been, but anyway, continue.
I get it, I get it. Yeah. Check the birth certificate of my money. Yeah, you're right, it's new. But it's still spin. Let me say this. DeMAURICE Smith said it best when he was explaining why he's not going to take a position to respond to what the NFL is suggesting. It is not our job to put the square peg in the round hole. The onus is on the NFL. That is a direct quote. And that is smart play if you're DeMAURICE.
Marcellus, I want you to tell me why this has been determined as a round hole and a square peg. The NFL used to play 12 games. They used to play 14 games. They now play 16 games. This isn't a new suggestion to play more games to generate more money. This isn't a square peg trying to go into a round hole. This is somebody trying to, let's make the hole bigger. we all get more money off of that. That is the only thing the NFL has to offer its players, more money.
They opened a can of worms when they didn't go just 12, 14, 16, 18. They said 16 for 18. And look, even the NFL doesn't know which way is up with this. When you put them on the spotlight right now in this present moment, NFL, how's that going to look? As Colin Cowherd just said, going off air, I'm paying for 2 Patriots games without Tom Brady because there are question marks. DeMaurice Smith saying, I'll wait for the answers. That is a smart play in this moment. I understand what you're saying in totality, but in this stage of this discussion, I'm going to sit back and wait.
And if you look what he's saying, he did say that they will entertain it, whatever deal comes. He didn't say we're not going to talk.
Under any circumstances.
But, he said that first, but if you look through it, he said, you'll entertain the offer. We'll sit down and talk, but as of right now, we don't have anything to talk about.
Mm-hmm. I'm just telling you, NFL players, I think partially because of social media, but mostly because of history. Hey, the NFL union is supposed to be very adversarial with the NFL ownership. And so that has baited DeMaurice Smith into being a cartoon character. Anything the NFL suggests, his first, no, I'm against it. That's terrible. What do you mean? You're going to cure cancer. That's terrible. People must die. I mean, everything they suggest, he's against. And all I'm telling you is you can't have it both ways as NFL players. You can't say, you know what, NFL, we need to partner on criminal justice issues and social injustice issues, areas we have zero expertise in, but we must partner on that. But when it comes to a schedule and how many games we play, y'all figure it out.
Okay, let me defend the NFLPA as I was a member of it, a player rep for 9 of my 10 pro years. Here's another detail. We all know the devil's in the details about this proposal, 16 of 18 games. The average career of an NFL player is 3.4 years. Mm-hmm. To get a pension in the NFL, 3 years.
Is it 3 or 4? 3? 3 years.
Guess what this new proposal would do if it just landed squarely?
Allegedly.
If it happened. It allegedly take the average career to 2.8 years. Just short of pension. And all I'm asking, Jason Whitlock, you think that's by coincidence?
Marcellus.
So the NFLPA sitting there saying if the average guy's not even going to qualify for pension, let's deal with it.
If I finance a study, I can finance a study on my own that'll tell you, you know what, Jason, you're in perfect health because I paid for the study.
You cooked the books. I get it.
And so someone needs to explain to me, if you're limited to 16 games, the same as you play now, why is this going to shorten your career? I'm just not going to accept it as fact because someone said so. Yeah. I need some proof. They're not asking you to play more games. 16 is the limit. So how does this mean your careers are going to be shorter? I got to have someone explain that to me.
But that's the biggest problem. We don't even know. That's just that's what's been thrown out there. We don't know if they're actually going to play 16 and 8. We don't know if they're going to play 18.
Sean, my point is this. The only thing you should concern yourself with, is it going to generate more money?
I'm with you there.
Is it going to put more money in my pocket?
Scoot over.
And if it is, now let's talk about it.
Yes.
Not under any circumstances, it's not in the best interest. Let me nitpick. Oh, my God, Tom Brady may not play. No, if I'm Sean Merriman, I don't care whether Tom Brady's playing. Am I going to get more money for coming out here and playing this game? And if they've thrown out a suggestion on how we can all make more money, I'm listening and participating in that conversation.
Yeah, you are, but you're also not going to do, what is it, the first strike of any negotiation?
Yeah.
Is to set the number. You know, Whitlock, we've been through negotiations on the field, off the field, and I've sat there before, ear hustling. I'm like, say the number. Say the number. Say the number.
You throw the number out there first.
And they're like, you know what? It'd be nice if you just correspond with us later date and let us know what you're thinking in terms of numbers. Because everyone's playing the chess match of who's setting the number first, right? So why would the NFLPA set the number first?
Because the NFL has already thrown the number out.
No, they haven't.
No.
They've thrown out 18 or 16 played within 18. Is that going to be dollar for 18 or dollar for dollar for 16?
What they have said so far is, based off, if we believe the reporting, let's play 2 extra games. Let's generate $2.5 billion. And now let's negotiate on how we split it up. And that's what, if I'm DeMAURICE Smith, y'all want to play 18?
But how was that number going to be split? I think that's
that's the negotiation. That's what you're
rosters.
paying.
Are we splitting it between more people?
Right.
Who knows? That's what you negotiate on. And the number I would be going for, to me, is like, how can I get to 49 or 50% of defined revenue? Do y'all want to play 18?
But they're not going to hand that number over to you. That's what you don't understand.
You negotiating.
They're not, okay, what you're negotiating against yourself.
Right.
That's the biggest problem here. You're negotiating against yourself. You're hoping that they come to the table and say, okay, this is what it's going to be. You get to that table and say, okay, I'm with you guys. We're on the same page. And they sit down at that round table.
And that proposal's different.
And that proposal's different. So
and
that's all he's saying.
That's when you walk away and say no deal.
But why would you do that? Why would you go
there?
through the... First of all, he said it best. You're negotiating against yourself right now. Second of all, if you start the negotiation right now, you don't have anything concrete to go against. What are you talking about? Everything is pliable from their side. Let's wait for it to concrete before we start to negotiate against...
Yeah, let's let them make all the decisions before we get involved.
A proposal is not all the
NFLPA has bad leadership, period. That's my belief. That's not a fact.
Doesn't mean everything they do is bad. And I disagree with that in general, but specifically still doesn't put an umbrella over
If somebody
every
can show me the idea the NFL has thrown out that DeMAURICE Smith hadn't said, well, that's just stupid, and we're not doing it. That's his cartoon character reaction to every damn thing. And it's old and it's tired. Look, NFL players, I'm just telling you, don't go for this money. If there's an opportunity to make $2.5 billion more, $3 billion, whatever, go for it. That's all the game has to offer you. So,
we get that, but all money ain't good money, Jason Whitlock. So we got to know how good this money is, because the NFL has had.
What dollar? If I reach in my pocket and give you $1, that's bad money.
Hold on.
You can't spend that.
If you say, Marcellus, I want our show to go to 2.5 hours, great. But you're not giving me dollar for dollar value on that. I stick with 1.5, bro. See, and we don't know how they're gonna give them 2 more games. But then is it gonna be 2 more games played? Is it gonna be 2 more games paid? I need to know that.
If I sat here and said, you know what, they got a raise for you coming. I'm going to do 2.5.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
No.
Why you going to tell me what to say?
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the example that works.
Money.
All you have to do is 90 minutes, but we're going to pay you extra $500K. Show's going to be 2.5 hours. All you got to do is the 90 minutes like you've been doing, but you get an extra $500,000.
What's the catch?
Exactly.
What you mean, nothing?
We need you.
What more do you need to know?
We need you 8 days a week.
Yeah, right. Also, I'm doing promos.
9 days a week.
Every Sunday morning, I'm doing promos. My son ain't seeing me. Like, it's a catch to it.
So on the days that they sit out games, we're going to force them to play flag football or something? I mean, what? There is.
Don't do this, Whitlock. I came into the NFL where there was no such thing as OTAs, off-season conditioning, mandatory voluntary. It didn't even exist. All of a sudden, poof, more money, but guess what? Poof, more work.
Everything that the NFL has been doing as the players have acquired more and more leverage has been about making the game easier on the players. There's less contact practices.
True.
The practice is shorter. Again, this is why you got to snap out of this mindset that these guys are your enemies. Everybody's making money here. They have no real incentive to piss NFL players all the way off. Everybody's getting rich, and they're trying to come. Hey, guys, and again, their area of expertise is how to grow money.
No, making that money.
Your area of expertise is how to sack the quarterback, and you've trusted a person who's handling this situation like a simpleton and someone that just like, I just got to disagree with them all the time, rather than getting in a business mindset of saying, you know what, there's some businessmen over here that can help us all make more money, and you can just concentrate on playing football. These guys, this is what they do for a living, is grow money. And to have this guy sitting out here dismissing them like it's crazy is crazy. This is Jason Whitlock from Speak for Yourself, and I got a website you have to visit. Pristine.com. Pristine Auction has daily auctions, ending nightly, and with $1 starting bids. Authenticity is important to Pristine Auction. They guarantee authenticity and come with authentication from only the most trusted sources. Pristine auctions are affordable. Most people don't think they can afford this stuff, but it is much more affordable than you think. A signed Ray Lewis Baltimore Ravens jersey sold for under $100. A Mike Tyson autographed boxing glove sold for under $100. It's quick and free to register, free to bid, and you only pay if you win. Use registration code when joining pristine.com. That's PRISTINE.com, and new users will receive a $5 auction credit. Again, you'll get a $5 auction credit when you register using the code SPEAK, SPEAK, to sign up for pristine.com. That's PRISTINE.com. Joined now by Saints Pro Bowl defensive end Cameron Jordan. Cameron, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. I'm gonna pay you a huge compliment, man. You're like you remind me a little bit of Reggie White, power and speed. Yeah. Not quite Reggie White, but power and speed.
That's a huge compliment. I take a reference too. I mean, Reggie's too great. That's a legend that you aspire to even have some sort of resemblance to.
There it is.
Hey, we've just had a huge debate about the 18-game schedule proposal, sitting out, only playing 16, maybe sitting out 2. What's your reaction to the proposal of expanding?
I just don't know how it's going to work. You're not going to present 18 games and then tell guys you could possibly not play 2 without guys not wanting to play those. As a competitor, I want to play each and every opportunity that I get a hold of when it means something. You know, if you say you're adding on 2 extra preseason games, that's not going to affect us because there's already a situation where, you know, guys are in and out of rotation for that. But regular season, when it matters towards legacy, where it matters towards stats compilation, you're going to tell me that a guy like, you know, let's call him Calais Campbell, who has 16 opportunities, now you're going to put in somebody else. It's not going to happen. As a competitor, you're going to want every opportunity you get on the field. If you tell me I'm sitting out 2 games, I'm looking at you and telling you you're a lie.
Marcellus, that sounds like your point in terms of you'd rather just play 18, all 18.
Yes. I'll play all 18 long as it's dollar for dollar, value to value, 18 games, whatever that looks like, compared to my 16-game schedule as is. And I like how you said it, how is this going to work? And I think that's why the NFLPA right now is pausing on their response to this proposal. But if you have a vote in this proposal, would you want them to go to 18, play 18, get paid accordingly, or do you want to stick with the 16 as is?
I'd stick with 16 as is. I mean, in terms of comparing stats to stats, putting legends to legends, putting, you know, good starters versus good starters, regular starters versus regular starters, rotation players versus rotation players. You have enough money? It's not even that. It's not about money. It's about about stat-wise. How do you compare other season stats? Now you got Drew going for almost 6,000 yards versus 5,000 yards. Or Ben Roethlisberger throwing for 5,500
yards
instead of 4,500.
Yeah, but this is different. This is 1 year 16 deal. You already got this signed.
Right.
It's now 1 year 18, just like this for the signature. You went $2 more million, and that, for guys who make 20, 30 million.
After taxes, we're talking about 1.1, which is again a game changer. Yeah. But if you're already making 16,
you have enough money. We've met the pro athlete who has enough money. You're good. If the NFL doesn't grow any more revenue, you're good.
I was satisfied last contract. I'm here for legacy.
This second generation, though. This second generation.
Yeah, your dad was an NFL player.
Respect.
Marcellus came from Compton. His dad wasn't an NFL player. There's a lot of. Do you think most players in the league would agree with you that if we're going to go to 18, I want to play all 18?
Absolutely. If you go 18, every competitor is going to say, I want all 18.
Yeah. I can't see a 16 versus 18.
I mean, now, dollar for dollar, that's all personal, how you live, how you whatever. But at the end of the day, if there's 18 regular season games, I want each and every one. Because you can't tell me, like, these 2 games we're going to take out. But what if those 2 games are, you got a duck for offensive line, you've got a quarterback who doesn't make the right throws, and he sits back there sitting all pretty. You ain't going to tell me that I'm not going to want to get this 3-piece out of him. Yeah. I'm going to go after him, man. I'm going to get, like, when you see a quarterback, sometimes you circle a quarterback, like, I know he makes all the right throws, he takes a little bit longer, I'll take him.
Or you get Wally pipped. A lot of times in the NFL, let's be real, your backup comes out there and shines, and all of a sudden you see him in the rotation. You're like, where'd that come from? It came from the 1 of the 2 games that the NFL all of a sudden said you had to sit there and watch him shine. Let's talk about last year, though. Let's talk no more proposals, no more what-ifs. The reality of the Saints locker room and the response to that controversial loss to the Rams. Are you guys over that yet?
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about being able to hit OTAs. We talk about being able to foresee this training camp that we have. I think as a team, we have the right mentality to not only withstand this, but to excel from it. You talk about what happened 2 years ago and how we went deep into the playoffs after, going 3 years of a 7-9 season and not making the playoffs. You see that our team was built for trying to progress and advance. Then you talk about last year, we go a game further than we did 2 years ago. So at this point, we just got to stay on track and go a game further than we did last year. We go a game further than we did last year, we're headed towards the Super Bowl.
Your team has great leadership with guys like you and Drew Brees there, but I'm a little concerned, and maybe it's a silly concern given your leadership, that y'all are going to be looking in the rearview mirror and still bothered by what happened rather than using that as proper motivation for this year.
Add it on to the chip that's already on the shoulder. But that's just it. The 504, we put everything on our backs anyways. You put that chip on your shoulder and you got to let it roll. You can always say, like, hey, you're too hung up on something, but everybody has their own problems. Everybody has their own situation where it's like, hey, if Kansas City didn't get that late hit or whatever, they hit a kick call on Tom Brady, they'd be at a Super Bowl. Whatever it is, everybody has their own problems.
But why more noise out of New Orleans than even Kansas City, as you bring up? There was a lot of examples where it was an abrupt ending for a team, but you guys made noise of it. What was the difference?
Because as a city, our fans really rally around us. We're not just loud. It's a family situation. And they feel our hurt. We feel their hurt. I mean, as a city, from fan base to actual players, you can tell that there's an integral part of this city that is the Saints. So when we feel like we got gypped at some point, you also have to take into account we were up by 2 touchdowns at one point. You look at what we've done, we've got to continue putting on points. We've got to continue making defensive stops. We didn't do enough. We lost that game, and we have to look forward to this season to rectify mistakes.
I also think you guys, on a positive, will be perhaps as desperate as any team in the league because Drew Brees is getting older and that Super Bowl window is starting to close. Is that accurate?
I don't know. Drew said he's playing till 45. I fully believe him. I see Tom Brady win a Super Bowl at 41. I feel like we've still got an adequate enough window. I mean, the way that Drew takes to the game, his meticulous training and operations that he has always set is always going to be there. So until he say he's done, I feel like we've got a great window.
I think that for both, one of the reasons why y'all reacted the way y'all did to that loss is for Drew Brees and Sean Payton, but particularly Drew Brees. I think he is the closest thing to Tom Brady, but he doesn't have the Super Bowls. And I think Sean Payton is the closest thing to Bill Belichick, but he doesn't have the Super Bowls. True?
I mean, winning defines everything in the league. You join the NFL to win. And when you have 6 Super Bowl rings, that speaks for itself.
This is a new NFL. I joined to get paid, brother. Back with that proposal. I don't know what the hell y'all talking about these rings. Let's go from the older quarterbacks to the young quarterback and Dak Prescott. Once you put on your analysis hat and be an analyst with us, is Dak worth $30 million in proposal that is floating around for his value?
I mean, at some point there was quarterbacks making $19 million that, shouldn't have been starters, but were starters, or $18 million that should, we're going into backup roles. At $30 million, if you're a face of a franchise, you have a lot more power in your hands than most other people. You see guys command 35, and you go into the playoffs just like they do. Taking stats out of it, you see yourself as a winning mentality as a face of the franchise. Gun for your money.
Now, you played against him last year. This is a chance for you to go out there and be a pseudo agent for him right now. Same time they beat y'all, so let's talk about
10 points on board, right?
Let me ask you. Let me ask this. My contention for Dak, and let's take Dak out of it. When you walk into a modern NFL locker room and they're paying you $30 or $35 million a year, doesn't that change the way your teammates look at you and the expectations they have for you?
At this point, it's the going price of a quarterback. I mean, you look at a quarterback and you're like, oh, okay, so the mid-tier quarterbacks are making 20-something, whatever. Say you're giving a hometown discount like Tom Brady or Drew does, and, you're in that 20 situation, but everybody knows you're elite. I can't even speak on quarterback money. It's just different.
Can I ask a different conversation about value? Because I've been there before where you got overpaid. And everyone, it's funny when you got your money. Oh, look at all that money. Ooh, smell new money in the room. But as soon as you throw that one errant throw, that pick, all of a sudden it comes back to haunt you.
No doubt. And now it's the age of social media, so it's an avalanche that comes at you, i.e. Blake Bortles. I mean, when you talk about everything that a quarterback does. I mean, he led him to a winning season, whether you want to argue about that or not. I mean, he went to the playoffs and actually won a game there, so argue about that or not. You can always argue that his defense that stalwart defense was amazing last year. And can you repeat that? That's up to Dallas and their Cowboys to figure that out.
Cameron, I was told that you were one of these people that think this is fake hair.
I'm looking at it, and it's looking like a real Puerto Rican grain, and I don't think there's any Puerto Rican in you, big fella.
You made a good decision not commenting because I would say something about your hair.
Oh, y'all.
Hey, this is all natural. In fact, I'll lend you some later.
That's all right.
All right. Joining the show now are Fox Sports NBA analysts Jim Jackson and Katino Mobley. All right, let's talk some hoops. The Lakers officially introduced Anthony Davis on Saturday. The former Pelican star revealed that he found out he had been traded to LA on Instagram. Davis also said that he's confident in the new-look Lakers being a championship-caliber team, despite missing the playoffs the previous 6 seasons.
I like our roster. I like every player that we have, from 1 through 15, or 14, 1 through 14. So I'm excited about it, and I'll put our roster up against anybody. I feel like that, in the 7-game series, that we'll come out victorious.
All right, Marcellus, is that just happy talk, or do you believe AD really believes he'd put their roster up against anybody?
Come on, Clips.
Happy talk.
Come on, Clips. You know this happy talk. This ain't number pep rally. This is LeBron's version of not 3, not 4. And it comes with the territory. When you go to a new team, that excitement. Players, we're stuck looking through a talent lens. We don't look at a player for what he is through an 82-game season. We look at Boogie Cousins walking around like, oh, he look lean, he looking ready. Boogie lost a couple pounds. Boogie gonna ball this year, but Boogie has durability issues. You can look at everyone on this roster and find a wart or two about their game and durability. That said, when you're in that moment, when he believes this fully. I go back to when I was my senior year. I remember that pep rally, and we were sitting there, and I remember looking in that front row. Jennifer Rojas, shout out to you, girl. And we gonna win league this year.
Yeah, right?
Well, yeah, this year. Yeah. It's echoing through the gym. Go Mariners. We were 0-10, bro. I mean, we got tilted every single game, but you believe it. So I think he believes it, but is that the reality? Hell no.
Age before beauty.
Yeah. No, listen. Okay, I'll take that. You and Jason something else. Y'all know that? Something else.
We're getting this started early, man.
Anyway, so, yeah, I'm with you. I think you have from Avery Bradley to let's go, Rondo. A lot of those guys don't stay healthy the whole year. That's one thing. Yeah. So it is happy talk for me. But again, you still have somebody as dominant like Anthony Davis who can play and guard 1 through 5. And you have LeBron James, you have Kuz. I think Kuz is the key to their team. If Kuz come back with better shot selection and be able to guard wings, I think they have a good chance.
I believe he does believe it because he specified really in the 7-game series, not the complete season.
Right.
See, for me, and we talked about this last week, to me it's the health of the team and how you figure it out because you think about load management, AD is really not going to play probably 65 to 70 games maybe. You cut LeBron back a little bit more, Rondo back. The guy who I think is going to benefit a lot is Kuzma because you got to think about the things he's been through. The first year was with Luke, rookie year. He had to change last year kind of his role on the team. And there's going to be a different role this year, but I think a better role because as those veterans sit down a little bit, Kuz is going to be the mainstay in regards to a bulk of the minutes played, whether that's with LeBron or AD. So I said this before. If you put their roster up during the regular season, you have all those questions, injury history and everything like that, and load management. But when you start to break it down, if they're healthy enough going into a playoff series, the experience they have championship-wise with Rondo, with Danny Green, with LeBron, that is a different outlook when you go into a 7-game series.
Breathe. All the qualifiers you just gave me is why this probably won't work.
Why?
Therefore, this won't stack up against all other rosters.
Why?
Because when you have to go into a season with your whole ambition based on everything working in your favor, it usually doesn't. So then
Clippers got to do it. They go load manage Kawhi.
Oh, yeah.
And they go load manage
Well,
Paul
George is coming off a shoulder.
You see what I'm saying? They go do the same thing.
No, but they also have the depth. They have the best bench.
Well, no, I love the bench in which they have.
Right.
But again,
and the pieces fit better.
The pieces fit. But I think what you have, the infrastructure for the Clippers are better. Okay? But they haven't won yet.
No.
So
Lakers haven't won yet.
But collectively they haven't. Individually, they have.
This is New Orleans West with LeBron being
that's
over.
fine.
Jim, I think you've made an excellent point, and I say that in all seriousness. I hadn't thought of it in terms of AD's actually in the right mindset. Obviously, the conversations he's had with LeBron, Pelinka, Vogel, Jason Kidd, they have a strategy, Marcellus, that like, we're going to ignore the regular season.
Yeah.
We're going to play our playoff lineups in short bursts together during the regular season. We're not, LeBron's going to probably play 33 minutes, blah, blah. And we're going to just try to make it to the playoffs. And that's where they'll really believe.
What are y'all talking about?
But that's where they'll really believe.
In the Western Conference, when 48 games is 8th seed, you going to ignore games? Good luck with that. You got to be 40.
You're not really, but
you're not
his point is you're not ignoring the games. That's one. Two is when you have a LeBron James that literally haven't taken off in the summers for the past 8, 9, maybe 10 years, and now you have somebody who's dropping in weight and really working on his body, and you have an AD, and hopefully, this is my thing, hopefully you have AD and DeMauric's cousin and the rest of those guys on LeBron's nutritional regimen and his body work. I'm thinking, listen, in the next 2-3 months, you have something special with these guys because their mindset, like you said, their mindset can be totally different. Now, usually, even in relationships in general, if you're with toxic relationships, as Jimmy, you would notice, you get hurt because of the environment kind of thing, the stress relief. Now, when you're with this right here, you with LeBron James and AD together, I think your spirit, your energy, your everything is a lot better. Your belief. So you're more, you're not susceptible to be getting injured or whatever, thinking negative.
Well, take it one more step. Neither one of these guys has to carry the load, which is the key also. AD had to kind of carry the load in New Orleans. He doesn't have to do that. LeBron had to carry the load last year. So
he had Boogie and didn't do much.
Well, no.
AD.
Well, he had.
They did pretty well.
They did pretty well in the playoffs with Rondo. But here's the thing. I think that helps from a mental perspective, too, that they don't have to go out and try to do everything.
But Boogie got hurt.
Well, when in New Orleans, he did.
No, in New Orleans, he got hurt. So when they went to the playoffs, he didn't have him. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, now you have AD with the LeBron James and hopefully a more 4 or 5 month that's conditioned Boogie Cousins.
Look, Jim, again, you made a great point, and it speaks to mindset of they quickly transition, and AD's had to transition because so far this has probably been a nightmare scenario for AD. He thought Kawhi was coming. He sacrificed $4.5 million. He don't even get the jersey he was promised. It's been a series of L's he's taken, and clearly they've said, hey, look, man, we got a new strategy.
Yeah.
We're going to make it to the playoffs, and if we do healthy, we're going to be a problem.
I have a problem with that because, one, they have the oldest active roster in terms of age. Two, in the West, a lot of teams got better. Yeah, we could say what we want. A lot of teams got better, and they're young and better. So that means they're not going to take those games off and give you games when you want to go out there.
You still have a mental edge.
But three, AD got to believe in this squad. He helped build this. He helped pay for the squad. That $4 million he gave Kawhi. He rooted for Kawhi for $4 million. He bought these players that got problems, and he knows it, but he got to believe it.
Whitlock and Wiley, joined by Jim Jackson and Sean Merriman. Time to get antisocial.
I got my workout on this morning. I didn't have a 65 dumbbells, but I didn't have a 65 like he got.
Y'all ready for this?
You ready?
I feel good.
I got a hairbrush right there.
Vegas,
He's getting ready for Vegas, boy.
That's all I'm hearing. All Darnell was doing is curls. He ain't touching another weight. That's another weight in the gym this week.
Hey, my boy Light Sound is here, though. I got to get the Light Sound.
I ain't never seen that many lights move.
My fault.
All right, Darnell, what's popping on those Twitter streets?
Yeah, we're going to get it going with yo guy, Patrick Mahomes, who was showing off his huge arm over the weekend. Local news station caught him launching the football over Arrowhead Stadium. The field level at Arrowhead is below ground, so basically, Mahomes threw the ball from the basement all the way out the attic. Our guy Kyle Hurd decided to throw some shade at Mahomes, tweeting out, Meanwhile, Tom Brady's working on timing and precision routes. Mahomes took it lightly and responded with some laughing emojis.
Yeah.
The word is that Mahomes threw the ball 86.7 yards up in the air. How impressive is this?
It's incredible. I've seen some things. And you got to remember, I grew up with Jeff George, who I thought had the strongest arm I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
His kid's on a different level.
Dog, we've been in Arrowhead. We played in Arrowhead. Yeah. We've all looked up and seen that sign. It's like, there's nothing in the world that could touch that sign, let alone go over it. That is so remarkable.
Yeah.
More than the 86 yards, which is just insane, is that he threw it up. So now you fighting that atmospheric pressure for real. Gravity looking at you like I'm coming back at this ball, and it still lands over
softly.
the roof.
Softly. It lands softly.
I had to look into it. You remember the commercials back in the day? They had the guys throwing at 300 and 400 yards, right? They had the trick commercials where they did the Photoshop. What did they call it? The video, back then. I had to look into it to see if it was real. Because I didn't think that it was possible to do it. And when I found out it was real, I was like, this guy is on another level. So pretty soon, we'll probably have a guy throwing 100 yards.
Phillip Rivers will get it to the third row.
You know what, though? You know what, though? The thought, you all on film. But the thought process that he could do it, though. I mean, what was he just sitting there like, you know what? I'm just gonna toss it right over the top of that.
When you got it, you know you can get it.
I'm sure that's not the first time. We got to move on.
Phillip Rivers throw.
Just side on.
Let's move on to my
Get off the
Lakers,
field.
where Anthony Davis has officially signed with the team. The Lakers held their press conference this past weekend, and Rob Pelinka decides to thank Magic for his goal a couple years ago of acquiring 2 superstars. Magic responded via Twitter saying, "Thank you, Rob Pelinka, for the shout-out today at the press conference. It meant a lot to me." Do you guys think Magic and Pelinka have made up?
Boy, that was not a genuine tweet. It meant a lot to me. Exclamation point. You got to convey it through the tweet, but you can't stay mad at Magic. So yeah, I think they made up.
Family that fails together stays together.
Oh, you're right.
They've jacked up the offseason together, so they're in it together.
I can't with it right now. I can't. I can't. It's just too much, man. It's just Magic said something about Rob and thanking him in the press conference, and then this comes back out, but yet and still he said he stabbed him in the back, and it's too much drama, bro. But I'm gonna tell you this: during the course of the year, we're gonna see more of this. If Lakers ultimately become successful, watch Magic name get tossed back in.
I think it was real.
What?
I think they're cool. They got no
cool
and cordial. You know,
cool. Are they going out to eat together?
No, they ain't going out to eat. I'm just saying they tweet Twitter friends. Everything is cool about it. It's not the same office anymore. I think that's all right.
The falseness of Twitter prevails.
Man.
Hit him with the off.
Time now for Darnell's question of the day. All right, take it away.
All right, guys, so Boston Celtics rookie Carsen Edwards used his mother as his motivation on the court, writing, "Help mama out" on his wrist before every game. And I personally know a lot of athletes who kind of go this route in order to motivate themselves. But do you guys like this motivational approach?
This is actually a heavier question. Again, I think having success and sharing it with your family is one of the greatest things you can do. And it's nice for athletes, young athletes, that the guy signed a $4.5 million contract, 4 years or whatever. But most young people, I don't think, should try to shoulder the burden of trying to save their family. You know, a child needs to be allowed to be a child, and hopefully as they mature in their adulthood and have some success, they do remember the older people that helped them get there. But placing that burden, I think it's an issue for young black people a lot of times. We place that burden on them to be the man of the house and the man of the family before they're ready.
My greatest satisfaction was being put in a position where I could help my family in terms of locale, in terms of changing our trajectory and generational wealth. But it's become one of my greatest burdens as well. When you talk about the family dynamic changing and how it can emasculate males in your family that are power figures, authoritative figures, your own father, when everything flips because you know at the end of every equation, you have the money, so you have the power. And it was very difficult. This motivation I love because it was part of my motivation as well. That last rep, that last hurdle, that last chance on that field was for the family. But you got to understand that you got to look at the family forward, not so much backwards. You can't save everybody and everything, help them, but then make sure you do things going forward.
Yeah, I don't like it so much. I think that every guy has his own motivation and what they're doing it for, whether it's, I see guys writing on their tape, religion and, different things. He's already made it. You get what I'm saying? He already can help his mom out. He already can take care of her. So going forward, your motivation or whatever it needs to be on the court. Yeah. It needs to be, going, like you say, going forward. You have the means to take care of your mom. You have the means to take care of your family. That's done and over with. What are you going to do going forward? And that's why I understand when guys have religion, beliefs, and they have, need this constant reminder during the games or before the games, whatever it is. I just think he's already made it to the point there's no looking back.
I think all of us here understand what I'm about to say. It's an enormous amount of burden put on black males in the community when they make it that they always have to kind of give back, maybe more so than other communities. Yep. And I think that burden when you're younger, like Carsen Edwards sees this from maybe role models of people down the line, that's something I got to do too. I got to give back, which is great. But I think the burden a lot of time weighs heavy on a lot of guys that can go the opposite way. Yeah. Because of that feeling, that pressure. Think about it. We've all been put in a situation because we've been successful with money. People think that I'm smarter than what I am. And I can solve all the problems just because I got paid or I've been successful over here, when that's not the case. And that's a heavy burden to carry. But from a motivation perspective, I get it. But I think you need to kind of curtail that burden a little bit more so it doesn't weigh you down with, if you're not successful, it seems as though you failed.
It's not actually restricted to just our culture, black people. They call it the black tax because we're first generation success and wealth. But Cameron Jordan, who was just up here as a guest, is a great example of what I aspire to be and to have for my family. He's second generation money. His dad played. Yeah. Think about that. Yep. Think about the burdens he didn't have in terms of that dynamic, because he already went through a different situation than we had to go back. We got our money and had to go directly backwards and go about face to change situations instead of using that in prosperity going forward.
I'm going to say this because it's just not discussed enough. But one of the great things I like about you, Marcellus, and why I wanted to work with you is because of your family, your nuclear family. And a lot of us in our community, single parenthood, single parent families, and I've seen a lot of mothers turn their sons into husbands. And it's inappropriate. This is a young man, 21, 22 years old. There's a role he should play in this society. Yeah. Husband to his mother is not one of them, and he should certainly help his mother out, help his family out, but within certain boundaries. I don't know if feeling that overwhelming responsibility is appropriate. All right, you want to party like a football star? Hey. Well, Saturday at the one and only Dre's Beach Club on the Las Vegas Strip, you can join Ty Dolla $ign, that dude, Marcellus Wiley, and the entire Speak for Yourself crew
you
at the pool party in the summer.
Hey, the Bachelor. Hey,
for tickets and more information, visit Dre'sGroup.com.
What is going on? Am I going still?
The Bachelor party. The Bachelor party, remember?
What is
the Bachelor party.
We going there?
All right, welcome back. Whitlock and Wiley, Jim Jackson and Katito Mobley are back. All right, let's move to Houston, which is exactly what Russell Westbrook is doing next season. The triple-double machine is taking his act to the up-tempo Rockets, but in order for him to coexist with James Harden, former NBA star Charles Barkley says Westbrook needs to move to shooting guard because the ball will be in Harden's hands and the offense needs to go through him. All right, any chance this will actually work?
Absolutely, it's going to work. I thought it was part of the terms in the contract in the trade. We give you 171. You know you're playing on guard, right? You know you're shooting guard, right? You know that, right? Fine print. Not even fine print, bold print. And this is going to be the latest great guard off ball that learns late in his career to develop a shot. I know he's a professional. I know how dedicated he is to the game. He's going to develop a shot. You imagine that guy with that energy on the perimeter or just in the corner, gets the ball, develops the shot even further, or uses what he knows, which is the slash to the hole. I think it's going to work beautifully.
I think his natural instincts is the two. He's an athlete, and then James' natural is to facilitate. And I think with those two working together with that high energy that Russell has, I think it's going to work perfectly. Some people may not believe it, but I think,
don't.
Yeah, but I think
do that.
Yeah, of course you do that. But yeah, you know, him being so aggressive, I think with the ball in James' hand and being able to advance that ball up to him helps his decisions a lot better.
Yeah.
2 times I think in the history we look at things when, yet dominant ball players kind of stay together. You go back to Clyde Frazier and Earl Monroe in New York when they won the title. 2 ball-dominant guards that kind of figured it out later in their career. There's another time, too, where I see the similarities between Gus Williams and Dennis Johnson. Because they're 2 guys that are really not point guards, but figured out ways to play. Gus Williams was more of a scorer, DJ set up and defensively. So I say it can work in some instances when guys kind of give up the ego part of it. But to me, the key is going to go back to this. What are you going to run? What is Mike D'Antoni going to put in place to make this thing work together? Because we know in Mike's system, it's a ball-dominated point guard that runs everything. So before I say yes or no, I like to see exactly the strategy behind what Mike D'Antoni is going to implement to tweak his offense enough, because I think what Russ can be great off the ball. On that second and third pass on the weak side, now he goes to work, okay? But I want to really see how they break down offensively.
I think they're going to roll back to that OKC early on when Russ.
But here's the thing. That's OKC.
I'm saying they're going to roll back as far as the plays. See, because what Greg Popovich does is he'll run his system, but he'll tweak something else for that new player that comes in. You know what I'm saying?
Have we seen that with Mike D'Antoni?
I don't know, but I'm saying because he's succeeded, but yet not deep in playoffs as he should have, with the offense being so powerful during the regular season. I think now he'll go to his staff and say, you know what? Let me tweak this a little bit. Let me bring a couple of these different offenses in, because James and Russell was pretty good at OKC together. Let me see if I can add a couple of those plays in and see how this works.
And that may be the problem, because Russell Westbrook may say, hey, we were successful in OKC together, and I was the point guard.
No. James in the fourth quarter controlled the ball in OKC with Kevin Durant and Russell on the wings in OKC. That's what happened. And they did pretty well, but they were young.
You're not concerned that Russell Westbrook can't shoot?
Look, everybody's like this. You talking about catch and shoot, right?
I don't know.
All right, before we go, I'd like to congratulate Secret Deodorant for its frugal publicity stunt. The antiperspirant brand spent $500,000 on $20 million worth of brand awareness. That's right. Secret gave each member of the U.S. women's national soccer team $23,000 for the right to use them in a clever marketing ploy. The alleged benevolence was trumpeted in the New York Times as a bold move in the fight for equal pay for women. It was a bold and cheap move to promote Secret. Mission accomplished. The mainstream media followed its leader, the New York Times, and heralded the donation as another musket fired in the war for equality. Secret implored the U.S. Soccer Federation to be on the right side of history. Let's take this moment, they said, of celebration to propel women's sports forward. We urge the U.S. Soccer Federation to be a beacon of strength and end gender pay inequality once and for all. Well, I'd like to take this moment to dispel the notion that being on the right side of history is some sort of noble ambition. It's not. Winners write history. Man writes history. The understanding of history is fluid and up to the discretion of those in power. You think Native Americans tell the same history as the settlers who conquered this land? You think Russians believe we were the deciding factor in World War II? More important than all of that, do you think Martin Luther King Jr. and the leaders of the Civil Rights Movement called on people to be on the right side of history, or did they call on people to be on the right side of God? Faith-based morality has been at the core of American progress. If you read Ed Henry's book on Jackie Robinson, you'll learn that faith, not speculation about what historians would one day say, powered the baseball great. I want the U.S. Soccer Federation to ignore historians and do what's right. Doing what's right is difficult. Doing what's right oftentimes requires rigorous debate. The people campaigning for decisions based on the judgment of historians seem to have no interest in debate and no understanding of how capitalism works. At this point in American history, the demand for women's athletics is not equal to the demand for men's sports. That disparity in demand is at the heart of pay disparity. The same factors in the beauty industry have created an enormous pay disparity between female and male models. Gisele Bundchen is significantly richer than her husband, Tom Brady. Through the Title IX legislation, America has invested untold billions in women's soccer. We've produced the exact results we've paid for. We're the best in the world by a considerable distance. The truth is, if you understand the history of soccer globally, we haven't spent enough money on men's soccer to be competitive internationally. That's the real secret. More speak for yourself after this. Whitlock and Wiley joined once again by Sean Merriman. Let's return to the NFL, where Pro Football Talk is reporting the Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott will hold out of training camp unless he gets a new contract. Zeke still has 2 years left on his rookie deal, and after an offseason that saw him avoid suspension when he knocked a security guard to the ground, Dallas doesn't appear to be in any hurry to extend him. I want to clarify. They said that Zeke has said privately to some people that he might hold out. He wants to get paid now. Pro Football Talk seems to think this is a good idea. How concerned should the Cowboys be?
A star running back for the Dallas Cowboys. What's the old saying? Well, when in Rome, this is what you got to do. Let's go all the way back to Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith. Like, Emmitt Smith had to hold out from the Dallas Cowboys to get his money. And then you fast forward to another great running back that they had, DeMarco Murray, setting franchise records out there. Free agency, peace out, go get your money somewhere else. So maybe Zeke is just looking at it like, when has Jerry ever bent over and broke the bank for a running back? Now, let's get into other situations in the financials. $3.8 million this season, $9 million next year, 2-year, $13 million deal, basically. Then if they franchise you twice, you're going to be at a 4-year, $36 million deal. When top running backs right now, currently, before the new CBA, are making $14 million a year, somebody just grabbed Zeke and grabbed the calculator, did some simple math, and told him, sit out, save the wear and tear, and get your money.
This is going to be tough for them. You look at some of the running backs that held out in the NFL. You go back to Le'Veon Bell, right? I truly believe that the Steelers are a playoff team if Le'Veon played, right? They missed the playoff last year.
Yeah.
If he played, they would have probably made the playoffs. You talk about Melvin Gordon's situation. I do believe the Chargers is still a playoff team without Melvin Gordon. Now, how far they go in the playoffs and can they win a championship, that's another story. Without Ezekiel Elliott, the Dallas Cowboys are 8-8 at best. They're a 500 team, and they're not going to the playoffs. It's in their best interest to figure this out. We talk about Emmitt Smith and the time he held out, but who was that quarterback?
Troy.
Who was that wide receiver?
The Irv.
Okay, who was that tight end?
Novacek.
Offensive line.
Offensive line. You go the whole thing. Ezekiel Elliott goes, that team is a average team, and I don't care how great that defense is, right? They have great defense, but if you really want to go and put all that pressure on Dak, this is what's going to happen. So they have to figure out find a situation that works.
I think there's reason to be concerned, but not that concerned, and I'll tell you why. I think things leak for a reason. We just saw with the Kawhi Leonard deal.
Yes.
If they don't want it out there, it don't get out there. Somebody wants this out there, and I believe it's Jerry Jones. I believe this is part of the negotiating strategy with Dak Prescott.
Oh, man.
Dak, you want all this money, and I got to pay Zeke, and Zeke's talking about sitting out? What are you without
That's cold.
Zeke?
That's
what
cold.
are you without
cold.
Zeke?
What channel is this show
And
on?
so, literally, I got to pay Zeke, and he's talking about sit. So I just think they just Pro Football Focus. I believe that story came out for a reason, and this is the next chip in that. You got to accept this $26, $27 million because we are paying Ezekiel Elliott, who you desperately need.
That's cold.
That's cold. That's high leverage chess right there. But if you're Dak, and it's interesting how they make it a team, a collective in terms of playing together and playing for something greater than yourself. But when it comes to payday, it's only two names on that check. Jerry Jones and yours. And that's where you got to put the blinders on. You got to run that race as a horse. You can't look sideways. As much as I know it doesn't land well with fans, it doesn't land well mainstream media. He's that selfish. What are you going to do? You're going to say, I take $26 million and give it to Zeke? Tom Brady made that mistake. He said, I'll take a haircut.
Made that mistake.
Oh, you ready? Tom Brady took a haircut. Look, he won, but he still lost. He took a haircut to get the money to Wes Welker. Guess what they did? kept the money, said, Wes Welker, peace. Tom Brady said, can I get the money back? They said, nah, we'll just disperse it other places.
Yeah.
Do you want to be that guy? And I mean, look, you're not guaranteed that Tom Brady's success. Who knows if that was the direct cause, but that's just a messy game to play.
Let's move to Dallas tomorrow and open up the Dallas Morning newspaper if you're a Dallas fan. And you, they're going to pay Dak, but they don't want to pay Zeke. How you think the average Cowboy fan feels? How you think Skip Bayless, and I'm speculating, how you think Zach or Deke? I'm paying Zeke. And if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm paying Zeke. And I'm like, hey, Dak, man, cut it out. We know that you're limited. This is one of the all-time great running backs, perhaps. You're not in that discussion. I think it's a brilliant negotiating strategy by Jerry.
I'll give you that.
Zeke hold all the cards right now. And if he's smart and that does go down, I would definitely hold out. I would 100% hold out. You're talking about even giving Dak $30 million to start with, right? That's just, that conversation to me is just absurd. Anyway, just even have that conversation. But now, if that's a real conversation, what is Zeke saying? Oh, you're going to give him $30 million after what I've done for the team, my production? I'm holding out.
Because Marcellus, at the end of the day, you're right, there's only 2 names on the check. But at some point in that locker room, this is Zeke's way of telling Dak, hey, bro, you messing with my money.
Yeah.
And so eventually, it's like when Emmitt Smith held out, trust me, Michael Irvin and eventually Troy Aikman, it's like, hey, man, get this dude his money.
Yeah.
Because we struggling out here.
Right.
and Troy Aikman's better than Dak Prescott.
And we saw this 2 years ago with Zeke went to suspension.
Yep.
So, you don't want to go through that again.
Our man, Uncle Jimmy's here.
Most definitely.
What? Dressed as Antonio Brown's great-great-great-grandfather.
Can we get to the big dummy today? Because you know who's getting it.
Marcellus. What did Mark Ellis do today?
But man, let me put it to you like this. Anybody that sits up here that close to Cameron Jordan and goes in and try to crack some jokes about this man's hair, you do know that's a Pro Bowl defensive lineman, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, was that just your little Ball State offensive lineman? You trying your little way with it?
He ain't the first Pro Bowl defensive lineman I had to put in his place.
Whoa, look at that.
But he might
Do
be
it
the
to
last.
Marcellus every day.
Oh, look at you. Over here cut blocking, huh? Unnecessary roughness. Look at him.
All right, anyway,
boy
here's a highlight
I seen that.
2-9.
from our discussion earlier about DeMaurice Smith and the idea
4-3, 4-4.
of an 18-game
Big old
regular
dude.
season.
Big old dude.
Players only have to play 16 games, but they can grow overall league revenue by 15%? Why be against it? Why not consider it?
This is all about money, but this is also about creating leverage against the NFL owners. So how do you create leverage? You let the NFL play this out in the court of public opinion. Yeah.
All right, Uncle Jimmy, I'm for the 18-game schedule. I'm all about more money. What's your take on the 18-game schedule and our debate about DeMaurice Smith?
Well, of course you would be. First of all, me, myself, I'm a fan.
Well,
And as a fan of the game of football, I'm thoroughly and completely against it.
why? I don't know why.
First of all, the price of an NFL game is already too expensive as it is.
Yeah, prices ain't going up.
And I'm being honest with you. I'm just now in a position that I can afford to go and pay for some tickets. So for me to take my son to a game, I'm spending almost $1,000.
You and your son.
And that's just for the working class, red-blooded American.
Man, where you
Well, hold on.
sitting?
You got 2 sons.
How many kids you got? Where you sitting?
They got 5 kids.
Look here. Now, I'm talking about, y'all can judge me if you want to. I ain't talking about the 1% kale eaters like y'all. What? I'm talking, look, have you ever eaten kale?
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I'm trying to tell you. It's a group of Americans that never have and never will eat no kale. That's who I'm representing.
Okay.
All right. So I just...
Look here, they say that this new schedule going to 18 games going to generate how much?
$2.5 billion.
$2.5 billion. Billion.
Yeah.
You know whose pocket that's gonna come from? Mine. The fans' pocket. The Americans' people pocket. It sound good.
TV
it sound
network.
good to the owners.
Yeah. TV.
I'm from Kansas City. It don't sound worth a damn to me. You know, in Kansas City, man, we got something traditional NFL season. You know this, nephew. It's called the tailgate.
Absolutely.
Right or wrong?
Great tailgate.
Hey, nobody gets down like Kansas City.
You ain't lying there.
It's an event. It starts all day. You bring your skills. You got skills with the ball, bring them. You got skills on the grill, bring them. You know, some people, in real talk, some people save up to go to vacations. There are people in America that save up just to go to them eight home season games.
All right.
And so what's more?
So are you going to give us them?
nine?
So
Why
are
not
you going
nine?
to give us them 2 games for the same price? Or are you going to increase the price?
Well, it's going to be the same price.
So you telling me I'm going to spend $1,000, but I don't know if Baker Mayfield going to play. I don't know if Antonio Brown going to play.
That's my point.
I don't know if Patrick Mahomes going to play.
That's my point.
Hold on, Marcellus. I thought the point of the game was to put the best team on the field.
Ooh, Whitlock.
That's true.
Wait. What did Herm Edwards say? Hello, you play to win the game.
That's true. That's true. All right.
So, look, I'm just telling y'all, man, I'm against change. I'm old school. Okay? Hey, look, I'm just trying to tell y'all, look here, man, I'm that part. I'm old school. I don't do the old Casper slide, you know. Everybody clap their hands.
Every wedding.
No, bro, I'm old school. I'm bus stop. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Look, man, you got old players like Ronnie Lott. You remember what Ronnie Lott did?
Yeah.
In order to start the season?
Never.
What'd he do? Cut his arm off to the nub.
No, he didn't.
At the top of his feet.
He cut off his arm and led the league in interceptions that year. See, that's called love of the game.
That's called a lie.
See, it was something to behold. You understand? See here, look at it. Look at this right here, man. O.J. Simpson. Remember? Now, back in the day when he was a rookie, he ran up against what's that boy's name that had the head slap?
Deacon Jones.
Deacon Jones.
Rest in
Deacon
peace.
Jones head slapped O.J. his rookie year. O.J. woke up 2 years later in a jail cell in Nevada talking about, I don't remember nothing. Now, y'all sitting up here talking about y'all want to go 2 more games. Look at poor O.J.
Not that big old head. No, he didn't.
Okay?
Hey, man, we got to get to
That
the
hurt Deacon's head more than OJ's head.
Man,
We got to get to the
That big
improvement.
old head OJ got.
All right. I got DeMAURICE Smith
35.
at a dumpster fire,
lowest.
35.
That's the lowest ever.
4 in job performance,
Man.
1 in all-time greatness, 20 in character.
Yeah.
Give him a 10 in authenticity.
Goodness.
Dumpster fire.
Woo, dumpster fire. I got him at a 54. 19
Scout
job
team.
performance. You know what? The owners don't give away a lot to the players easily. Like, you got to fight for that. So he's the one leading
Thank
that
God
charge.
for Gene Upshaw.
I ain't talking to you. Look at all these overpaid players we talking about. Guess who got him that money? DeMAURICE Smith.
I know who
And
got
the
him the
benefits,
money.
but he's a lawyer and he's the head of the PA, so 0 for authenticity because you know he lying. It's all about the money, baby. Go get that money, D.
All right.
D.
We'll
Smith.
see you tomorrow.
I know
That's
who
it for
got the
Speak for
money.
Yourself.